So many of us are working with our inner child right now, the younger version of ourselves, as we start to feel our pain. And so many of us get really confused as to how does that happen? How do we work with inner child? What does that mean? What does that look like? Now, I've got to say that this is stuff that I still do for myself, of course, with my clients. And I do get help when I'm like, I have a blind spot. I can't manage it out. I have done my best, and yet I need somebody else to help me out with the little angles that are not showing up for me, or maybe I'm too afraid to look at. And I get hold of someone that I trust dearly with this work, as she's the one who helped me dive deeper in healing the wounded child. And so I just needed to say that so that it's very clear that we're all here to help each other. There isn't a person who's like, I'm done. This is all done. I'm done. My inner child is fantabulous, right? No, it's just a constant state of awakening. Now, I wanted to take it in chronological order so that I can give you the best of how this works. Point number one is, what is inner child work? What does that mean? It basically simply means that all the wounds, the traumas, the experiences, the perceptions, the beliefs that we acquired as children growing up, that we started to acquire, are all still within us. In a sense, think of all the younger you, even the womb you, right? Even in the womb, all, and the 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, just imagine them all living in different realms and realities, right? Because they're all in the past, right? And if you think about it, we can't get hold of the past no matter what we do. Like, it's not like we open our brain and, oh, there's the past. But we know how to think our pasts. We know how to trigger that thought to attract our past, right? We can remember certain things. A lot of times our memories get hold of stories or situations that took place and shift them around for us in a way to hold on to survival, on how not to get hurt again. We then, a lot of times as children, what happens is we actually could encounter a situation that traumatized us or shamed us, right? It traumatized and shamed us so much so that it made a belief about our worth, our value, who we are. And then we take that belief, to us it becomes a fact, that, let's say, I'm not worthy of love, or nobody loves me unless I'm this way. And we take that belief and we live with it as we keep growing up throughout the years. So for me, inner child work is like accessing a different portal, like accessing a different realm of my own personal timeline to go back, okay, and undo or give that inner child what that inner child really desperately needed at that given time, okay? So that's inner child work. Hope that makes sense. So the second point is, I get asked a lot, like, how long will this take? You know, like, when I'm done, I'm done. It just seems like I've been going through this forever. I had asked myself that question years ago too, like, will my younger self ever just be resolved? And the answer is no and yes, in a sense of no, it's not gonna just be like running on rainbows and having no emotions in any form in that sense. And yes, as in, it'll take maybe a few minutes to be like, oh, that's my younger child, and then do the techniques with the younger child and release and resolve it, right? But you could just imagine how many years have accumulated with us carrying that false truth about who we are. And so in time it starts showing up less and less and less and less. And when the inner child pops up to have that conversation, then it's when you have the tools and the skills and you've done this for a while, it's now easy to be consciously aware that that's a version of you that needs to be seen right now. Okay? So there's no deadline, right? So if you're looking for a deadline to be like, okay, I need this stuff to be resolved immediately, right now, like let me sit and just get all this inner child stuff out right now, and start poking around and looking for all inner child issues when you can't see them right now, right? Just relax, because, and this falls on to point number 3, which is, how does the inner child come to view? You got to relax, because the inner child comes to view when an emotion surfaces, when you feel something, right? When you start talking to yourself really badly, for you to consciously be aware, I'm right now abusing myself, blaming, shaming, judging something about me, right? And therefore there could be an inner child, a younger version of you, wounded and showing up, and you are being harsh, abusive to that younger version that wants to come out. So how is this done? Basically, you'll be going about your day. It might come from an external factor. You bump into someone, they say something to you, you take it and twist it around as, oh, I have a hair that's poking in my eye. Oh, there it is. So you take it around and start poking around. You bump into this person tells you something like that hurts your feelings. And then you sit there and you start badgering yourself like, oh, I should have answered this way, or I could have done this, or what is wrong with me? I shouldn't have gone out. Whatever it is, that's when an inner child is being awakened. It's through an emotion, right? Or you watch something and you feel tremendously sad, or you're sitting busy doing something, and all of a sudden you feel like this overwhelming feeling of lack, right? Like panic or anxiety or stress. Those are the signs. There's an inner child. I like to call them the protective armor, right? And the reason I call them a protective armor, and you'll read about it in my new book that's coming out. The reason I call them a protective armor, because they protect the adult me from feeling the pain of that younger child, the younger version of me that's feeling it. So it's a barrier. It's anger, stress, overwhelm, sadness, anxiety. All those are just protective armors, right? They're reactive, right? So it's protecting that inner child. Now, what happens is, if we know that these are just protective armors, right? Like, just think of anger saying, I'm going to protect, I'm going to get out angry, and I'm going to protect that inner child from not saying anything of their pain out loud to the adult, so this person can keep surviving, right? And for you, the adult now, who's aware that there's a lot of pain in there, can actually finally sit and be present to that younger child, that younger version of you that has wanted nothing more than your personal attention. The big version of you. It's like a different time within the same timeline. There's a little 5-year-old of you that's still waiting to be loved, to be heard, to be appreciated, to be validated. And as you're growing up into different versions, every single version of that refused to give that to the younger child. And the younger child is still seeking it from the world outside. It's still wanting the mom and the dad to offer it. It's still wanting friends to offer it, their success, their work, their money. Like, something somehow needs to offer that younger child what you're here to do for the younger child, because no other person can offer that to the younger child other than you, because it's on your timeline. This child belongs to you. This version of you that was a child belongs to you. Take it as you are the mother of that, of all your timelines and versions of self from the day you were in the womb until today. You're the mother. Whatever state I'm in now, I'm the mother of that. I'm even the mother of my past self 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. right? Or last year, right? Because I'm the grown-up now, okay? Another really important thing to know is that emotions are what basically emotions actually mean is energy in motion, right? Emotion, energy in motion. So when energy is in motion, right, which your emotion is showing up, your energy in motion is showing up, there's energy and it's moving and it's bubbling up. Think of little bubbles everywhere and it's starting to bubble up, right? And your younger child is coming up into the open to say, I don't matter. I don't matter. Nobody cares about me. It's like energy is in motion. It's in motion. What we do is we go away. I am going to revenge. I'm going to spew anger, or I'm going to sit and be sad and miserable about my life because I don't matter. Like whatever protective armor you're going to use, right? So just visualize it. This will really, really help. As whenever I'm moving through life, I will encounter consistently emotions, right? Some I like, some I don't, right? The ones I don't are the ones I want to pay attention to, because the ones I don't are previous versions of me screaming out from the different realms they're trapped in for my attention, okay? For my attention. This is really important, okay? So if I am, I'm right now in energy in motion. I'm having that emotion, which is energy in motion, right? And I can grab it and say, oh, I feel so alone. I feel so alone, right? And let's say you're at a party or you are actually alone at home and I'm so alone, and fear of missing out starts coming. Oh God, I gotta occupy myself. Let me get on the net. Let me go out. Let me call friends. Let me do this, right? Fear of missing out starts showing up. That is energy in motion. That is where you need to be consciously aware. An inner child is about to show its face to me. Okay? So we don't go poking around for the inner child. The inner child will constantly keep showing up depending on how we, what is it called? How we welcome it in or we don't welcome it in. We shut the door in its face or we open the door and say, come in. I know this is going to be painful and I'm ready to do this, right? Because you showed up in my emotion, right? There's been energy moving within me, right? Ready to surface and come out. And instead of me shutting it down like I have for years and years and years and years and years of my life, it is ready to come out. When there is an inner child that's ready to heal, ready to be heard, when you, the adult you, is ready because you've acquired so much information throughout your life, when you are ready, that emotion will show up. That inner child will show up because it knows you are ready to mother it. Yes, mother it. Okay? Mother it the way you've never been mothered ever in your life. Okay? That's exactly what is happening. So stop searching for it. Stop wanting to fix yourself right now so that you can be free. There's no such thing. This is part of the journey here on planet Earth, right? It could evolve and change to something else, but this is in our time right now. This is how it looks like, right? This is how we're dealing with it. This is what's showing up for all of us to do, right? I keep getting intuitively that sometime later in life, when we do all the inner work now, there won't be anything else to really sit with that darkly, that much that we're in so resistance to or afraid to look at. This is what I intuitively know. I don't know if it's in my as I am still alive or not, but it just doesn't feel that far away. So that was a little sneak peek into some psychic thing. So now that I've like explained all these parts, how do we work with the inner child, right? It's very easy. When that energy starts moving, starts to move, and you're feeling an emotion that doesn't feel good to you, and you're about to abuse the crap out of it and say, you're supposed to be optimistic, you're supposed to be happy, haven't you already done all this work? Do you keep doing this work over and over again? Like all that horrid stuff we tell ourselves. When that happens and you're about to go into that spiral of self-abuse, just say, ooh, there's an inner child on my timeline that needs my attention because I'm feeling so awful right now. I'm in rage, I'm in anger, I'm in frustration, I'm in overwhelm, I'm in a belief, I'm locked in this limiting belief about myself, and that younger version of me wants to come and share something. That's all it means. It means nothing else. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean that you haven't healed. It means absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that there is a version of you that's ready to come play with you so that you can free it. That's all it is. Where you free yourself, where you're going to mother it. So this is how it looks like. That emotion arises. You sit and you are consciously now aware, oh, there's a younger version of me. You sit with the feeling. You just sit with it. And you say, oh, there it is. I'm just feeling so alone, you know? Okay, so there's a younger version of me that has felt this feeling that I'm feeling right now. This is the protective armor. You sit with the protective armor and you say, I allow you to exist and I allow you to be here. I'm allowed to feel all alone. I'm allowed to feel that I'm scared to be all alone. I'm allowed to feel that. I'm allowed to feel it, and that's okay. You can exist. I'm here. I've got your back. It's cool. And you just let that settle in, right? And then you can simply just talk to, if it's loneliness, just talk to the loneliness and be like, hey, what's going on? You know, I'm here for you. Say whatever. I'm not here to fix you, change you, blame you, nothing. I'm here to do nothing other than just be present, right? And then you might notice, oh, it sounds like a 8-year-old that's speaking to me, or a 5-year-old, or a 2-year-old, or in the womb, who knows, right? Just don't judge it. Just go with it, right? It's illogical. There is no logic. You can't use the limited brain we have, right? You need to expand into the truth of you, right? So in this moment, you expand into the largest version of yourself. You're going to mother this feeling. And you're just going to hug and love it. And then as whatever age comes to mind, let's say 8, right? You're sitting there and you're just listening. That's it, right? And the 8-year-old will take you to a past or a present, and you'll get like images or you get feelings, and all you're going to do is, I love you anyway. I've got your back. I love you anyway. You're allowed to exist. I love you anyway. You can be here. I am here for you. I've got your back. I love you. I love you. You can feel this way. And you might hear things like, but I don't matter. Nobody loves me. No matter what I do, nobody loves me. Don't fix it. Don't say, no, I love you. Just say, I understand. I love you. You're allowed to feel this way. I love you. And that's okay. I get it. I understand. I get it. And I'm here for you. And that's all you're going to do. It's really that easy. It's just the discipline of getting yourself not to, because that's how we're taught, right? We're taught to like fix it. Don't fix it. Just be there, right? Loving, like a mother, just hugging that version of you that's feeling like they don't matter. They're not good enough. They're failures. Nobody loves them. They'll be alone for the rest of their life because they're horrible. Right? And just love them through it and be like, I get it. It must feel horrible. It must feel terrible. I understand. And breathe through it, right? Now, if you're also feeling, the adult you's feeling that, then now it's time for you to call in your highest self, your highest and big self, the soul version of you, to come in. And you ask the soul version of you to come and just wrap her arms around you, and wrap itself around you and just love you. So you need the love, that younger child needs the love, and you're receiving it from the highest and best version of yourself, which is your soul, your highest power, right? And you're just basking in that love that you can be whoever you want to be and feel whichever way you want to feel. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with it. Who cares if you're feeling that way? Like, why are you so busy trying to like get rid of that feeling so fast to become what or who, right? However, when you keep expanding yourself, like, and whenever I do it, I think of expanding myself and allowing all parts of me, all versions of me to feel safe with me. Most important thing is the mothering feeling of safety, right? All versions of me allowed to be safe with me. I just visualize this water, just water. I could see bubbles and water expanding and allowing all things to live in there, right? And I'm just the water, like a womb, hugging that version of me, right? Like the ocean hugging, containing me and loving me through it. That's how I visualize it. That's how I do it when I'm doing this work for myself and for my clients. When I energetically work with them and we go into that dimension, that's the technique and tool that's showing up to do. So let's go back. Don't look for the healing. Let it come to you when it is ready, meaning your younger version will show up. Let it bubble up. Remember, emotion is energy in motion. There's an energy now that's being in motion that's showing up to you. Before you slam the door shut and say, ah, open the door and say, welcome in. I know this will be painful and I'm ready to go through it. Because the only way on the other side is through it, right? Any other time something similar shows up, and it will, it's not going to be as severe or intense. It's going to be a lot gentler. But it could be another version of you that's showing up and saying, well, cool, I feel better already because my 8-year-old feels better, right? But I've still got a bit of gunk here. That's all it is, right? It doesn't mean you failed, right? It doesn't mean anything at all other than other versions of you are showing up. And when you heal these versions of you that show up, they heal your whole timeline starts getting healed. Like all of it just goes, right? Everything else gets shifted, right? And many, many other things will show up. And that's okay. That is really okay. As we evolve in the speed of light that we are right now, healing modalities are getting easier and faster. And we're all shedding the shadow self quicker than ever before. So, I will end this. I hope this was helpful. Tell me how that's gone for you. What inner child showed up for you? What beliefs were pent up in there? What thoughts, what emotions have you been oppressing your whole life, and only to find out that, if I just released it and allowed it to exist, I can live with it. It's cool. It means nothing. There's no translation. Leave me your comments and click on the freebie I have down there and enjoy it. All right, take care, and I'll see you in another episode.